Chappell Roan just won a Grammy.
Hello!
But most headlines I've seen about her are not about her music, but about her reputation. Apparently she's difficult. Artists used to shock the world with their risky song lyrics or their unique looks. Now the biggest scandal isn't what Chappell Roan sings or wears, it's what she dares to say.
No. No.
But why does that make people mad? And how much truth is actually left in this ancient stereotype that women are difficult when setting boundaries? But when men do it, it's called being assertive. She says no to fans who want to take a selfie.
If you saw a random woman on the street, would you yell at her from the car window? Would you harass her in public? Would you go up to a random lady and say, "Can I get a photo with you?" And she's like, "No, what the fuck?" And then you get mad at this random lady?
She says no to paparazzi yelling at her.
This is quite overwhelming and quite scary.
Yeah.
I think for someone who gets a lot of anxiety around people yelling at you, the carpet is horrifying.
And she says no to people getting away with insulting her.
Chappell right in front of you. Chappell right in front of you.
You were so disrespectful. Here we go. You were so rude to me. I deserve an apology.
And while some celebrate her for this, she also gets a flood of nasty comments. What the fuck does she think she deserves? 15 minutes of fame and she thinks she runs the world. If you don't enjoy it, stay home. She's annoying, unbearable, always angry, insufferable. I hate her. I mean, most parents know all too well that this is one of the first words babies learn.
No.
But from that moment on, it gets hammered into our heads to not say it because it's rude. And I feel like that's especially the case for women. We are taught to be agreeable, to avoid backlash. We don't want to upset people or cause problems.
You have to find a way to reject men's advances without damaging their egos. Because if you say yes to them, you're a tramp. But if you say no to them, you're a prude.
This mindset sounds like something out of a handbook for the perfect housewife of the 50s. But it's still very much alive and kicking, and it goes way beyond that. Historically, women who said no often faced real consequences, not just backlash, but actual punishment. Women who rejected marriage proposals could be publicly shamed or disowned. Women who refused their husband's authority could be declared hysterical and forcibly institutionalized. And in lots of countries today, women are not allowed to say no, or like anything at all, really. So this fear of saying no isn't irrational, and people still don't like hearing it, especially when it comes from a famous woman. Besides Chappell Roan, there are lots of other examples. Take Serena Williams. She has been called angry and overreacting for years just because she defends herself and denounces sexism in tennis. Katharine was labeled ungrateful when she felt her role on Grey's Anatomy wasn't worth an Emmy nomination, or when she called out crazy working conditions. Years later, her co-stars Ellen Pompeo and Kate Walsh finally came forward to say that she was right.
But she was 100% right. And had she said that today, she'd be a complete hero. But she's ahead of her time, made a statement about our crazy hours. And of course, let's slam a woman and call her ungrateful.
Billie Eilish faced backlash for speaking out against being sexualized. In an interview with Variety, she said, "I wasn't trying to have people not sexualize me, but I didn't want people to have access to my body, even visually." And when she did wear something that's at all revealing, everyone's like, "Oh, but you didn't want people to sexualize you." And speaking of, this issue with saying no often comes up in discussions about sexual violence, but it applies to everything else too. We are allowed to say no, yet the problem is always the same. It's not easy. It can have consequences. It can even be dangerous. That's exactly why, especially as women, we need to get rid of this fear that saying no could simply make us unpopular.
Popular, you're gonna be popular. Whatever.
Which is weird because it can have very much the opposite effect compared to what happens when a male celebrity does exactly this, or much more. I mean, saying no can be difficult for anyone.
Hi, Justin. Can I get a hug? No.
I hear you. This is my home, you know what I mean? This is where I live.
and I don't appreciate you guys being here. You guys can be anywhere else, this is my home, you know, this is where at the end of the night when you come home, you want to relax, this is my space to do that. So I'd appreciate it if you guys could let me do that.
English, motherfucker! Do you speak it?
So when words don't work, some let actions speak for themselves. Like Bad Bunny, who tossed a fan's phone after they got pretty pushy trying to take a selfie with him. Whee! And I'm not saying he was right, but I understand his reaction. But now imagine Chappell Roan did that. Now, the clearest, most blatant example that there is very much a difference in reactions to women saying no is Kanye West. He basically never said anything else. His whole image is being difficult. He interrupts award speeches, he insults fans or colleagues, and basically built a career on saying no. Yet no matter how disrespectful, how pissed off or simply wrong he behaves, the discussions surrounding him still had a touch of something positive, even something admiring, or at the very least, something funny. He wasn't difficult, he was edgy, confident, artsy, and he still got invited to award shows where he was allowed to do his thing, because that's just who he is. Even when he outright said that he admired Hitler. The outrage took its time. Meanwhile, Chappell Roan says no to a selfie with fans, and suddenly she's insufferable.
Why? Why would you do that? What is the matter with you people?
And yes, stars have always been expected to maintain kindness to paparazzi or their fans, even if they're out of line. Something about it goes along with the territory of being famous. But we've seen many times what happens when they do get along with this.
There's one subject we didn't discuss. Mm-hmm. What was that? Everyone's talking about it.
What?
Well, your breasts.
Yet, under the right circumstances, we are suddenly encouraged to just say no. That was even the slogan for an anti-drug campaign in the 80s.
Cocaine?
No thanks.
If someone offers you drugs, instead of saying something you really don't mean, just say,
No. No.
no big production number. Just say,
No.
You'd be surprised how well it works.
No.
And again, celebrities were used as role models.
I actually worked with Nancy on the Just Say No campaign and then went... I was like, you picked the wrong spokesman. So sorry, Nancy.
Luckily, there have always been famous role models who truly mean it when they say no and refuse to play by the industry's rules.
I mean, as we got older, we've always, known that no is a full sentence, and we've always been, no is a full sentence.
How do you apply that? What does that mean exactly? No is a full sentence.
That means if you're younger and you don't want to work, you say no.
Yeah.
Even if it means they have to face backlash. Like Cher. She always did her thing.
They sort of make the Michael Jackson analogy that you've gone too far. Do you feel like you've gone too far? And
well, no, I don't. If I want to put my tits on my back, it's nobody's business but my own.
And she also didn't agree with her mom.
Oh, my mother said, Cher, when you get older, I wish you'd hurry to get older so that you would settle down and marry a rich man. And I said, Mom, I am a rich man. It's like I don't have to marry one.
Katharine Hepburn didn't want to bend herself backwards to fit into Hollywood's glamour world. She didn't wear makeup, she rejected dresses for pants, and she pushed back against the industry's expectations for women. And because of that, she was labeled unfeminine or cold. But in reality, she just had zero interest in doing what people wanted her to do.
If you have been taught basic freedom from fear and a basic belief in what you're doing that is sufficient to carry you when everyone and his uncle thinks you're wrong, and you still think, well, God damn it, I don't think I'm wrong. I think I'm right, and I'm going to do it.
And I imagine that it couldn't have always been easy. I mean, saying no is hard, at least it is for me. But it shouldn't be controversial. It should be normal. And that's why I applaud Chappell Roan's attitude and the price she pays for it.
I think actually I would be more successful if I was okay wearing a muzzle.
Now, just to be clear, this isn't about whether one agrees with her as a person or her music. This is about how she truly doesn't give a shit if someone has a problem when she says what they don't want to hear.
They shouldn't be surprised if I say no to a photo. Or they shouldn't be surprised if, like, I'm going to stand up to myself, for like, how famous people are treated on, like, a red carpet or treated by paparazzi. You don't have to understand everything I do, but, like, don't be surprised if I, like, protect myself.
She's not being difficult. She's not complaining. She's standing up for herself when something doesn't sit right with her.
It's so scary to think that one day people will not care about you the same way as they do right now. Like, that is so scary. And I think lives in women's brains a lot different than men's. But I did not expect the abuse of the machine and the internet.
Outrageous outfits and provocative lyrics stopped being shocking a long time ago. But saying no also should have stopped being provocative ages ago. But if you disagree, you're welcome to comment with a big fat no, or with whatever thoughts you have about this.